Okay, today we are going to see about the static import in Java, right? So under the static context, we have static variables, static methods, static blocks, and the last topic that we have to see is the static import. So before understanding the static import, first of all, we will have to understand what benefits that you would get to use the import keyword. What is the necessity of using the import keywords? After understanding the importance of import keyword, you will understand the importance of what? Static import, right? So to understand this, I will just directly jump into a small program. Let me say, let me take two packages. Let me say I have a package ABC, right? And inside my package ABC, I will take one public class, and the name of the class is something like A. Okay, inside this, I will take one public method, public void method one. Okay, very simple, isn't it? I have a class and I have a method inside that class. So let me take one statement, system dot out dot println method one of class A. System dot out dot println method one of class A. And let me take another package XYZ. The name of the package is XYZ. Let me take a public class. This time the name of the class is X. So inside this class, I'm going to take only one method, which is a main method. Public static void main string array dots opening and closing parenthesis. So I have taken two packages here. So package ABC, I have taken package ABC and I have taken package XYZ. So let me go to the paid screen so that we will observe the execution. So this is one package, and this is another package, right? So this is package ABC, and I have another package which is package XYZ. Perfect. Let me copy this and paste here. Okay, this is a simple piece of code inside the package ABC, and we have another piece of code that is placed inside the package XYZ. Okay, so this okay, we have two different packages. So, and I want to execute the method that is placed inside the package ABC. So this is the method that is inside the package ABC. I want to execute this method from a different package, which is what? Which is XYZ, because main method is placed in the XYZ package. So this is the main method. So by using this main method, I want to execute, or I want to invoke this method, or I want to call this method by using this main method, which is part of the package XYZ. Okay, I want to call a method which is part of a different package ABC. In order to do this, we know these things already, right? We will be using the import keyword. We'll just be using there are two ways that you can call a method. First way is by using the import keyword, you can call a method that is part of a different package, right? So let me save this. Let me save this with XY file, save as. Let me save this with x.java. Okay, and we do have another file. Let me move this here. We have two packages, XYZ. I have saved with .java extension, and we have another package ABC. Let me save this with a.java. I will save it. Right? So I want to execute this method. Or I want to call this method from the main method, which is part of the XYZ package. Right? In order to call that, I cannot call directly. See, if I try to create an object for the class A, I try to create an object a obj equal to new A, right? followed by obj dot, what is the method name? M1 is the method name. If I call this method with this expression, I do get an error because main thread will not get recognize this statement. The main thread will not recognize this class. The moment I keep this, the moment I keep these instructions, the problem here is this instruction is placed in such a way that the main thread will not recognize where is this class A. You are creating an object for the class A. This class A is not part of the current package. You have only one class in the current package, which is class X. This class A is not part of the current package. This class A is part of a different package. You need to create a, you need to create a way, you need to create a connection so that the main thread can traverse and make the method call. So in order to create a connection, you do what? You use the import keyword, right? So let me execute this first. You will get an error here. Okay. Java D space hyphen D space dot space x dot Java. Okay. So what is error that you are getting? Cannot find the symbol a obj equal to new. It is not able to recognize this. So how can we ensure that this is getting recognized? So before even doing this, let me compile the other package, which is java space hyphen d space dot space a dot java. Let me save this once again. A.java file has been executed successfully, and compile successfully. Let me compile the other class, which is x.java, which is part of a different package. So in this case, you are getting an error because it is not able to identify. Right? So how I can ensure that this particular method one is getting called by using the import keyword. So use import. Import what? Import the class. Import which class? Import the A class, which is part of ABC package. Import A class, which is part of what? Which is part of ABC package. Right? So ABC dot. This expression will ensure that, okay, this statement will ensure that the main thread can traverse. A channel is getting opened between these two packages, and now the method gets executed successfully. Java C space D dot Java, Java space A dot Java space XYZ package name followed by the class. 1 minute. Java space XYZ XYZ dot X. The method one of class. Method one of class is getting executed. So this statement is making a huge amount of difference. What is the difference that it is making? Right? So you have just added the import statement. You have just added this import statement. This import statement is creating a channel. This creating a communication between these two packages. Okay. Right? So now the class A, which is part of package ABC, is available to the package XYZ. Right? So now if you try to create an object for the class A, and the main thread will check for the class A in the current package. If it is not available, by using the import keyword, it will traverse to the package ABC, and it will invoke the method M1, which is part of ABC package. Now you don't see any errors. Now you don't see it. This is one of the ways that you can achieve this by using the import keyword. Right? If you do not want to use the import keyword, so in this case I have used the import keyword. And again, if you do not want to use the import keyword, is there any other way that I can execute the method which is part of different package? Yes, you have to use what? You have to use the fully qualified name. So by this I can conclude that there are two ways. Okay? Please be informed that in order to get access to the classes which is part of a different package, we will have to use the import keyword followed by the package that you want to make available in the current package. So import keyword is one of the way. First way is what? By using import keyword. By using import keyword. Okay, and that is another way. What is another way? By using what? By using the fully qualified. By using the fully qualified. So what does it really mean? Okay. So the syntax for fully qualified name is syntax. Syntax. Okay. So if you do not want to use import keyword, use the fully qualified name. Syntax is package name dot class. Okay, so this is the syntax. Fully qualified name. This is called as what? The fully qualified name. Fully qualified. Right, let me go back to the program. So I just want to remove this. I just want to I do not want to use the import keyword. If I do not want to use the import keyword, still I want to call the method one, which is part of a different package. I will have to use what? I will have to use the fully qualified name. Fully qualified name is this A is the class name, isn't it? This A is the class name. Okay, so access the package name followed by the class name. Right, what does it really mean? What is it? A belongs to A is placed, class A is placed inside the package ABC. So you do what? You just do abc.a. Now you are being very specific. Okay, you are using the package name followed by the class name to open the communication between two packages. Now main thread will recognize the package and it will go inside that package and it will find the dot class file and it performs the execution. So here also you do the same thing. ABC dot. Okay, fully qualified name. This is what we call it as what? This is what we call it as the fully qualified name. Package name followed by the class name. So does it really work? Let us see that. Let me save two classes. Let me perform the compilation once again. Instead of compiling each and every file, you can also use star.java. Star.java means all the .java files inside the current package, all the .java files inside the current package will be compiled successfully. Right? Star.java, then Java space xyz.x. Now it is also getting executed. So these are the two ways. So now we are jumping into the actual topic, which is what? Which is the static import. Right? So usually to understand static import, this knowledge is necessary. Knowledge. Usually if you want to execute a remote method, if you want to execute a method which is part of a different package, you can use the import keyword. By using import keyword, you can do that. Secondly is by using the fully qualified name, you can do that. Right? So I can say that please be informed that just by using the fully qualified name, just by using a fully qualified name, you can call a method which is part of the different right. So how I can define this in the paintbrush. Okay, if I do not want to use the import statement, if I do not want to use this, okay, if I do not want to use this, right, what I should be using, instead of calling this directly, okay, I will have to choose what? I will have to choose the fully qualified. Right, so this is the fully qualified. So both are going to ensure that the communication is getting open. Okay, the communication is getting open. The channel is getting open between two packages. Okay. Now we are going to see about what? Static import. Okay. So what is the importance of static import? Why one has to learn the static import? First of all, let me give you the small definition about the static input. What does the static input actually means? Static input. First part, please be informed that the concept of static input is in Java. Java is introduced in JDK Java 5 version. Java 1.5, Java 5 version. Okay. Second one is used to access any static member of a class directly. Is used to access any static members of a class you do not have to call it by using the class name or object of it. You don't have to call it by using the class name and the object of the object of it. So I want to do a small change in my program. Okay, so this is my Java code, and so under the package ABC, just want to make a small change. What changes I want to make here? Very simple. Let me take a static variable. Inside class A, I am taking a static variable like public static integer. Okay, I equal to 100 and I equal to 100. So I have a static variable. And I also want to take a static method. Let me copy this method and let me place the static keyword so that the concrete method becomes the static method. So let me name this method as method. Okay, I can just say that static method of class. Static method of class. Let me change this as well. Non-static method of class. So in my class A, I have a static variable, I have one static method, I have one non-static, right? And what I want to do here is, so from what we call it as from the package XYZ, inside the class X, so I just want to call what? I just want to call the static variable and the static method. Right, so we usually know how to do the method calls. If it is a static method, we usually know how to do the method calls. There are three ways that you can call the static context or static variables or static methods. What are the ways? Either you can call them by using the class name, right? Or if it is in the same class, you can call them by using the references. Or if it is in a different class, you can call them with object references. So example I'm taking, let me use the import keyword. Let me make the connection between these two packages. Import abc dot the connection has been created. Okay. Let me also take a static member here. Public static integer j equal to 200 or 200. Now you see the difference. So I have a static member, or I have a static variable inside my class X, and I also want to take a static public let me say M1 system dot out dot println. So let me say M1 of classes. Okay. So in my current class, I have a static variable, I have a static method, And from the main method, see this variable and this method is part of the same class, right? Is part of the same package. Okay, if you want to call this variable, how we can call this variable? Just by using system dot out dot println, use the class name. Just you do not have to create an object for calling the static variables or for calling the static methods. I can just call the static variables like use the class name dot the respective variable name x dot j. Okay, after doing this, let me perform the compilation and execution once again. I missed the return type here, public static void. T200, right? So I have an option to call the static variable by using the class name followed by the variable name, or else I can also call this. Okay, I can create an object for the class A like x obj equal to mu x. Either by using the object reference, I can call by using object reference. Second way is I can call by using the class name. So let us see the output. Java C space 200 and also third option also I have. If the variables are in the same package, I can call them directly without having to do what? Without having to use any class name or the reference variable. I can just use J. I can just use J so that I can call them directly. So there are three ways I can making a call to the static variables. 200, 200, 200, because they are part of the current package. I'm directly using the variable name, which is J, so that I'm able to get access to the value. Here I'm directly I'm using the class name followed by the variable name. I'm able to get the value. The third case, I'm using what? I'm using the object reference variable followed by the respective static variable name. I'm able to get access. These are the three things. Same thing applies for method also. If you want to call this method, directly use m1. First way. Second way is what? Use the class name followed by m1. What is the third way? Use the object reference variable followed by m1. Method name. So this is going to call the method over and over again in three ways. I'm directly using the method name. I can call. I can use the class name followed by method name. I can do the call. I can use the object reference variable followed by the method name. I can do the call. So these three things are going to give me the same. Okay. See, I will do that. But we should try to do this. Okay. So this variable and this method is part of the current package. So there are no issues. But my concern is that I want to call the static variable or static method which is part of a different package. I want to call I, which is part of different package. I want to call method 2, which is also part of a different package. How I can do that? Okay. You can say that, sir, you can use the import keyword. Correct. By using import keyword, you can do that. By using import keyword, how we can do that? So I have just used the import keyword, right? So now I can do what? I can say system dot out dot println a dot I'm getting answer as well, right? Now second way is, let me create an object for the class A obj equal to new A. By using this object reference, I want to call the member variable, which is static member variable. Hundred. Okay, third way, can we call directly? If I just call the I. I just call I. Okay, now you will see. Now you cannot do this. Is not able to recognize. Okay, you are not able to. Previously, in the previous example which I have just shown a few minutes ago, if it is in the same class, okay, if you want to call J directly, you are able to call J. If I use J instead of I can get access to the value because this J is part of the current class and this J is part of the current package only. In this case, the compiler has no issues. Compiler has no issues. 100, 100, 200. Okay. But if I want to call a static variable which is part of a different package, I is not part of the current package. I is part of what? What is I? I is the static variable name, which is part of abc package, right? Even though you use the import keyword, you cannot use the variable name directly. Now, in this case, you have only two options. What is the first option? Either by using the class name followed by the variable name. You can use the class name followed by the variable name. Variable name. This is the first case. What is the second case? You can use the reference object reference variable, obj reference variable dot followed by the variable. Only these two ways are available. You cannot directly use the reference, variable name. Variable name. This is invalid. I want to make this valid. I want to make this valid. I want to make this work. In order to make this work, we are going for what? We are going for the static import. So to understand this particular line, I have explained you the things that is necessary to understand this particular line. I want to make this valid. Now we are getting error if I try to perform execution, right? You are getting what? You are getting error. What is an error that you are getting? It cannot find symbol. I do not want to get this error. I want to make this work. Just want to make this work. How I can achieve that? I can simply achieve this just by using what? Just by using the static input. Right? So very simple. Instead of using the ordinary input, I can do what? I can use import static. Import static, okay, followed by the package name dot followed by the class name, okay, dot you keep star. You keep star. I will give you the explanation for this. I will give you the step-by-step explanation for this. Now you see what would happen. Do you think a miracle will happen? Is it error type? Tell me something. 1 minute. Okay, 100. I think I have to. Okay, you are getting error. So why we are getting error, I will explain. Okay. So now we are using an import called import static. So this line is called as what? Static import. I will give you the explanation for this. So you are using this line. Focus on this line. In any import statement, okay, if I import statement as a static keyword in its okay, so there is a static keyword. If there is any static keyword followed by an input statement, right? So this becomes what? This becomes the static input. The complete input is going to become what? The complete input is going to become static input. Static input. Okay. Which means, so you are using what? You are using a package name. ABC is representing the package name. ABC is representing what? ABC is representing the package name. Package name. And A is representing what? A is representing the class name. class name inside that class, the class name. Okay, and you see what you see a a star symbol, right? So this is just like, okay, you have access to all static members. When I say all static members, can be static variables. Static variables, it can be static methods. Can be static methods. Right, star is representative. So you have static variables, you have access to static variables, you have access to static numbers. But there is one disadvantage by using this import statement, right? So only you can access the static numbers if you use static input. Only you can access what? You can access static variables, you can access static methods. If I try to create an object, okay, if I just try to create an object, this it won't recognize. When I create an object for a obj equal to new a, the main thread will not recognize the class A because you are using the import statement. That is completely fine, but this is a static input, which means specifically this is going to give you the control over the static variables and the static members of the class A. And that's why it is going to throw an error when you try to create an object. What if you do not want to get an error? Okay, what I want to do, I want to use what? Import abc dot a. Okay. This will ensure that you won't get any error. Okay, now you are not getting any error because you are creating an object for the class A, right? And you are using a import keyword which is importing the class A in the package APC. This is not the static import. This is the generic import, which means you have access to static members. Okay, you have access to static members as well as the non-static members. Static members as well as non-static members. So this is not generic. This is specific. Specific means you have access to what? Specific import, which means you have access to only what? You have access to only static numbers. Static. Right? Now go back to the main screen. You see you have access to static variables, you have access to static numbers. So inside package, so it is just like, okay. So this is the class, and you have this class. So because of the static input, okay, you have access only to the static variable and the static method. Okay, and I have also taken an instance method. So for the instance method, you don't get, so this is not visible to this import statement. Instance methods are not visible to this import statement, because you have created, you are using the static input. Only these two members are visible. Okay, and it can see the static variable, it can see the static method, but not the instance method. Okay, this is completely becomes invisible. In order to make it visible, you have to make use of what? You have to make use of generic input. Okay, so when you do this, okay, actually you can say, they can argue with me like, sir, static input has some drawbacks because it is very specific and we have access only to the static numbers. What advantage that we have with this? So in future, while you developing an application, you would come across what? You would come across, if you want to access a particular static variable very often, every time you want to access a particular static variable very often, you do what? You just make use of this static input, because by using the static input, you do not want to use the class name, or you do not want to use what you do not want to create an object. Directly you can use the variable name which is part of the different package. Variable name is I is not available here. I is not available in the current package, but still because of the static input, you are able to get access to the variable name. So readability wise, okay, by looking at this, readability wise, it is looking so good. Now you have access after writing few lines of code, writing few lines of code, right? And again, if you want to re-access this once again, and again after writing few lines of code, again if you want to re-access this once again, you want to keep re-accessing it over and over and over again very often. Okay, static input is highly recommended. This is recommended only if you are dealing with the static methods or static variables. Sir, can I access the static method directly? Okay, just see, I have a static method like method 2, right? I can call the method 2 without using the class reference. Directly, I can write the method 2 here. This method 2 is not part of the current package. And this method 2 will be fetched inside the static input, right? Inside the class A, the method 2 gets executed. So this method 2 is directly available. You're not using the class name to call that method 2. Even though it is part of different package. Okay, if you execute this piece of code, you get what? 100 static method of class. Sir, can I access the non-static method by using the static input? If I want to access the non-static method, always remember that you need to use the generic input. A specific input is what? Static input. Only static members are available. Okay. So I have spoken so much about the static input. What are its uses in the real-time application where you would be using this? Can you give me one example where we would be using this? I will tell you a small example. So in future we are going to discuss about the concept of multi-threading. Okay, the concept of multi-threading. So there is a let us understand this. For example, if I'm writing something like a class, and if I just give this code to the compiler, we know this already, right? What are the changes that will be done by the compiler? The compiler will consider this class as what? This class will be treated as the default class. These things we have discussed several number of times, and also going to take a default constructor, okay? And also going to add the super keyword in the first line of the constructor. These are the things that will be added by the compiler. Apart from this thing, it is also going to import a default package. This what? It is going to import what? It's going to import a predefined package. This what? Import java.lang. So this package is available. This package is given by the Java people. The compiler will ensure this package is imported by default. It is going to add the default keyword if you are not specifying any access modifier, and also it is going to add the constructor. Right? So this java.lang package is the predefined package. But I can say that, please be informed that please be informed that the java.lang package is predefined package is made available to all the packages is developed by the developers. Whatever the package that you take, right, by default is going to import what? Java.lang package. So inside this java.lang package, so this is the predefined. When I say predefined, it is given by the Java people. Predefined is what? These are the libraries or these are the classes and interfaces which is given by the Java people. Now go back and see, we have a package XYZ. This package XYZ is called as what? It is called as the user defined package because I have created this. Okay, this has been created by me. It is called as what? User defined package. User defined. Right? So java.lang package is what? Predefined package. Okay? So I will give you the small code now. Now you see. Let me remove all these nonsense not required. Let me remove this. Let me also remove this. Okay, let me also remove this not required. Okay, I have a simple class. I have a main method. Right. So inside this main method, what I want to do is just want to do something here. Okay. Now focus here. System.out.println. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm using something like head dot in underscore priority, okay, followed by thread dot norm underscore priority. Don't worry about what is this bin priority, what is this norm priority, and there is something like the max priority. Okay, let me compile and execute this. You are getting 1, 5, 10. So really we don't know what is this thread, what is this bin priority, how Java is able to display the value like 1, 1, 5 and 10. What is happening behind the scenes? Okay, let us try to understand this in the paint. So let me take this space. Okay, I have placed a thread dot min. Okay, so here thread is a class. Thread is what? Thread is a predefined class. This thread is a predefined class. Right? Predefined. We will understand this class about this class is multi-threading concept. Now we are just understanding this with respect to static input. Okay, this is the predefined class. So now you should be thinking something here. You are not created, the object has not been created for this predefined class, right? And this min priority is what? This is the static variable. Static variable inside this class. Static variable inside this class. So in the Java, people has given something like this. Okay, they have created a class by the name of thread. Okay, remember, they created a class by the name of thread. Okay, inside this, they have taken three variables: public, static, final, okay, and public static final min underscore priority equal to 1. Okay. Like this, max non-priority equal to 5. Okay. They have assigned a value 5 to the non-priority variable name, and they have assigned a value 10 to the max priority. Okay. You have three variables of these are part of which class? They are part of the thread class. So this thread class is part of what? This is part of what? Java.lang package, predefined package. Java.lang predefined package. Right? So this is our user defined. This is our user defined package XYZ. When you give this code to the compiler, I have just said, right? By default, we have access to what? We have access to the java.lang package. The compiler will ensure that developers has access to what? Java.lang package. So that a communication, a barrier, okay, what we call it as a channel will be opened so that all the variables that which is part of the predefined package, you have access to this predefined package, right? So what I'm just doing, I'm using the class name which is thread class. Okay. Now the main thread will identify this thread class by using what? By using the java.lang package. So the control will be transferred to what? The control will be transferred to the thread class first. Inside the thread class, it is going to get access to min priority variable which has a value 1, and it is going to get access to non priority variable which has a value 5, value 10. So you get 1, 5, 10. Why we are getting 1, 5, 10 even though we have been created the thread class? So these are the things that is defined by Java people, and the compiler is doing what? Compiler is making sure that the developers has access to this lang package by default. Even though if you write or if you do not write it, you have access to this lang package by default. Okay, all the what we call it as your class is going to get this access by default, right? So but these variables are what? These variables are static variables. Instead of importing the generic input, I want to do the static input so that I can avoid writing this thread class over and over again. I do not want to write this thread class over and over again because by default the generic input is available. By default, what is available? The generic input is available. Input is available. Default. So I want to ensure that the static input is available. How I can do that? Just by doing what? using import, okay, by placing the static keyword, right, followed by java dot lang dot inside the thread class dot I want to get access to all the static members. This is going to ensure that, so this is the static variable name, this is the static variable name, the static variable name. Instead of using the class name, I can remove this class name, I can remove this class name, I can remove this class name, but I can get access to the variable, I can just use the variable names directly to get access to the value. 1, 5, 10, right? If I'm not using the static import, and if you're not using the static input, and if I try to execute this piece of code, it will not be recognized. Okay? So I have just given you in the previous example that if you want to get access to the variable names directly, which are static variables, without using the class name or without using the object references, you need to do what? You need to use the static input. It will ensure that you have access to the static members directly. You do not have to use the class name, just use the variable names directly, so that the readability will be improved, and there will be no compile time errors. Right? Now you may be thinking, sir, what is this thread class? What is this thread class at all? Okay, this class is part of the multi-threading topic. Multi-threading topic. We'll discuss this in the future. Multi-threading is about 5 to 6 classes it will take. So this is a very huge topic. We'll discuss that in the future. So this understanding is just with respect to the static input. Apart from that, nothing. Static input. So the conclusion is very simple, guys. Don't break your head by thinking so much. While developing a real-time application, you will see the actual advantages of static input. For now, you are dealing with 2 different packages, right? And from one package, you are trying to access the static variables or static methods from another package. And if you do the static input, use the static input, right? You can just call the methods, or you can just call the variable names directly without using the class name. Right? And why? What is an advantage? Readability will be improved, and if you have to call the variables very often, this would be completely beneficial, and there will be less verbosity. Okay? The advantages will be seen in the real-time application development. Over there, you come across the static keyword, you should not get any confusion. It's just like this import is meant for the static variable or static.